Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, today, and we will go straight to the Parliament House proceedings, and we will join in as soon as the proceedings begin. And today, at the parliamentary sitting, there's lots of business that they will be going through. We'll also hear from our Premier as well. So let's see when the bell rings, the bell's ringing. So as soon as the proceedings begin, we will let you into the Parliament House. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the live coverage of the Queensland Parliament sitting via Australian Indian Radio. And I hope you're having a wonderful day today. As you know, that today it is 23 degrees and sunny. Well, let's join the Parliament House now. The Speaker is taking his place.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Honourable members, I respectfully acknowledge that we are sitting today on the land of Aboriginal people and pay my respects to elders past and present. I thank them as First Australians for their careful custodianship of the land over countless generations. We are very fortunate in this country to have two of the world's oldest continuing living cultures in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples whose lands, winds and waters we all now share. Honourable members, I have to report that on Monday the 14th of March I presented to Her Excellency the Governor the Appropriation of Parliament Bill No. 2 and the Appropriation Bill No. 2 for Royal Assent. And Her Excellency was pleased to subscribe her assent in the name and on behalf of Her Majesty. I've received from Her Excellency the Governor a letter in respect to assent to certain bills. The contents of the letter will be incorporated in the record of proceedings. I table the letter for the information of members. I also note that the 14th of March was my father's 74th birthday, and I want to wish my dad a happy birthday for Monday. Are there any matters of privilege? Honourable members, on the 23rd of March 1922, the Constitution Act Amendment Bill 1921 was proclaimed, and with that the Legislative Council of Queensland was abolished. The abolition of the Legislative Council 100 years ago shaped Queensland's distinct political culture. The Parliamentary Service is commemorating this event in Queensland's political history. The highlight will be an historical seminar co-hosted this Saturday with the Royal Historical Society of Queensland. The seminar will be held in the Legislative Council chamber, appropriately, from 9:30 a.m. and will be opened by Her Excellency the Governor. The seminar will include presentations from Mrs Lynn Armstrong of the Parliamentary Library, Dr Denver Beanland, Emeritus Professor Kay Saunders, Dr Jared Carney, the Clerk Neil Laurie, and apparently I'll feature somewhere as well. The seminar will follow a commemorative lunch in the Strangers' Dining Room. Thank you, Senator. Members will also notice a display to mark the 100th anniversary of the abolition of the Legislative Council on level B foyer outside the members' reading room. Curated by the Parliamentary Library, the display will remain in the Old House until after the seminar on Saturday and will be relocated later this month to the level 3 lobby in the annex. The Parliamentary Library has also prepared an interactive online biographical portal of the Parliament website of the 195 members who served in the Legislative Council. Finally, I can advise the House that a commemorative red wine for this auspicious centenary is now on sale. I do discourage members from buying this wine over the Speaker's gin. However, a 2019 reserve 7 years from Symphony Hill Wines of Ballindine in the electorate of Southern Downs is available for purchase at the Strangers Coffee Shop, the Lucinda Bar and the Gift Shop, and all good retail outlets. The centenary of the abolition of Queensland's Legislative Council is an important commemoration of the defining event in our state's history, and I commend the Parliamentary Services commemoration to the House. Honourable members, I wish to advise that we will be visited in the gallery this morning by students and teachers from Samford State School in the electorate of Pine Rivers and Tambourine Mountain College in the electorate of Scenic Room. Are there any appointments to be announced? Will the clerk read the list of petitions lodged?
The following honourable member has lodged paper petitions for presentations. Mrs Freckington from 16 petitioners requesting the House to consider the provision of a persistent pain, chronic pain clinic in South Burnett. Mrs Freckington from 176 petitioners requesting the House to reconsider the decision to remove darts as a sport in Queensland and reinstate it as a listed activity.
180.
The following lodged e-petitions sponsored by the clerks now closed and presented. 1,512 petitioners requesting the House to seek a more detailed and factual account of the health impacts of COVID-19.
There are notifications and tablings. I call the clerk.
I inform the House of the tabling of certain papers in accordance with the notification and tabling of papers document emailed to members.
Are there any ministerial papers? Well, there are.
Yeah, there are. Yes, it's from me.
I call the Premier.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I lay upon the table of the House the public report of ministerial expenses for the period 1st July to 31st December 2021.
I call the acting leader of the House.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted?
Aye.
Leave is granted.
I move that Standing Order 231 shall not operate to prevent questions or debate which anticipate debate on the motion standing in the name of the Premier and Minister for the Olympics.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. Those against, no. I think the ayes have it. Are there any ministerial notices of motion? Are there any ministerial statements? I call the Honourable Lord Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, any driver filling up recently would have received a nasty shock. Petrol has skyrocketed, even up to beyond $2 a litre. Some are facing the very real prospect of $200 to fill the family car. This puts enormous strain on household budgets, especially for those battling to make ends meet. Mr Speaker, while we cannot control the global events that have led to this price hike, there is something we can do. Mr Speaker, we are going to make that cost of buying electric cars just a little bit cheaper. Mr Speaker, I can today announce that our government will provide a $3,000 subsidy for anyone buying an electric vehicle to the value of $58,000. The Transport Minister will shortly go into more detail. I'm advised that this brings 5 electric models. Are you against electric vehicles now?
No, not at all.
I'm advised this brings 5 electric models within closer reach. I'm advised this would make electric vehicles a comparable choice to new cars like Hyundai, Santa Fe, Holden Colorado, Volkswagen Amarok or Mitsubishi Triton. Mr Speaker, this is a key component of our zero-emissions vehicle strategy. It provides $45 million over 3 years for the Vehicle Purchase Incentive Program and a further $10 million to accelerate places to charge them. Mr Speaker, I'm advised electric vehicles are cheaper to run and because they have fewer parts...
Order, members.
Cause so much debate, Mr Speaker, at this hour of the morning.
I can feel the electricity in the room, Premier.
Oh, Dad.
A greater take-up of new electric vehicles means more in the used car market, making them even cheaper and within reach of those with less money to spend. Mr Speaker, Queensland has always forged a path for electric vehicles. The government plans for our state's future, the future jobs and the future industries. No state has a better developed superhighway of recharging stations. Our next step is to develop the rare earth...
Sorry, Premier. Member for Logan, member for Burleigh, you'll cease your discussion, or otherwise you can take it outside. Premier, you have the call.
Thank you. Our next step is to develop the rare earth minerals, particularly in the northwest of our state, and use them to manufacture batteries, even the vehicles themselves. And then there is our $2 billion renewable energy strategy, including the development of the hydrogen industry. The goal is to reduce our emissions, reduce the impact of climate change, and strengthen and rebuild our economy. Mr Speaker, global warming is real. Climate change increases the frequency and severity of extreme weather, as we have seen all too clearly and all too recently. No one can reduce these impacts alone. We have to all
Ladies and gentlemen, there seems to be a slight problem with the stream there. We'll see how it goes once again.
And disruptive time for many Queensland students in the history of our state. They've had to overcome floods, fires, a global pandemic, being separated from their mates, and a new program of learning from home. Despite all of that, based on the latest NAPLAN results out this weekend, I can safely say that this cohort is among the best and brightest we've seen in Queensland. Mr Speaker, there are too many to name, but let me go through some of the schools. Crow's Nest State School, exceptional numeracy results among Year 7s and 9s. Millmerran, strong numeracy results among Year 7 and 9. Mundubbera State School, strong reading results among Years 3 and 5. Beanley State School, strong writing results among Years 3 and 5. Brisbane Central State School and the Minister for Education's electorate, strong reading results from Years 3 and 5. Bundaberg North State School, strong numeracy results among Years 3 and 5. Carabonica State School, strong reading results among Years 3 and 5. East Brisbane State School, same Year 3 and 5. 8 Mile Plain State School. Gingin State School, Glenalla State School, Kalki State School, Lowood State School, Milchester State School, Minden State School, Mooloolah State School. Member for Glasshouse. Good news. Mount Cotton State School, Robertson State School in Toohey. He just goes over their head, Mr Speaker. Sunnybank Hill State School. I'm telling you, good news for this. Oh, Mr Speaker. Pangul State School,
Order.
State School
Order,
and
members.
Woolwyn State School, just to name a few. And across the board, Queensland students produced some great results. In particular, students at the Queensland Academy for Science, Mathematics and Technology performed very well. The Academy's results were above the average across every category when compared to schools with students from similar backgrounds. And Queensland's Year 3 students recorded their strongest writing results ever, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I congratulate all 274,000 Queensland school students who participated in NAPLAN last year. And a big thank you to the teachers, principals, staff, parents and carers who prepared students for their exams. Now, you two. Now. Mr Speaker, these results are a testament... Oh, goodness me.
Order, members. Order. Members to my left. Members to my left. Member for McConnell, I don't think we need your commentary this morning. Premier has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. These results are a testament to the hard work of all teachers, staff, students and their families. They also reflect strongly on our investment in education. Our government has invested $5.2 billion in education. Mr Speaker, we've built 21 new schools, including 3 new schools which I opened earlier this year. And I'm proud to say that we're investing another $1 billion to open an extra 11 state schools in 2023 and 2024, Mr Speaker. And we'll continue to invest in schools, our teachers, to ensure that we give Queensland students the very best possible start in life. And, Mr Speaker, more good news to come today. Our Nothing Beats Queensland. It's the slogan that encouraged millions of Australians to return to our state after the devastating floods in 2011. Today, I can announce we're bringing it back. Mr Speaker, for the last 2 years, Queenslanders have fought bravely against COVID-19, and just as we started to see the light at the end of the tunnel, floodwaters ripped through much of the south-east, causing more heartache for local businesses. This week, along with the Minister for Tourism, I'll launch a new tourism marketing blitz to help struggling businesses rebuild from the impacts of COVID-19 and the floods. From this Sunday, our Nothing Beats Queensland campaign will be in print, online, on the radio airwaves, on social media and on TV, from Victoria to New South Wales and right across Queensland over the next 3 weeks. Mr Speaker, we know it works. Following the floods in 2011, we saw Australians return to Queensland in their droves as a result of this campaign. Through our Nothing Beats Queensland campaign, we expect to reach more than 9 million people this year. In total, this initiative could generate up to $3.4 billion for local businesses between March and June. Mr Speaker, we're focusing on encouraging Australians to visit our hardest-hit tourism regions in time for Easter. Whether it's enjoying the theme parks on our great Gold Coast, learning to surf on the Sunshine Coast, or trying wines in the southern Queensland country region. Perhaps even the drop that you're launching on Saturday, Mr Speaker. There's plenty to enjoy right here across Queensland for the Easter holidays. Mr Speaker, I'm also pleased to report that bookings are picking up in some of our key tourism destinations, including the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Fraser Coast and Cairns, where occupancy is now at around 75% for the Easter long weekend. Isn't that great? Let's get it up to 100%. Mr Speaker, rebuilding Queensland's tourism industry is central to our plan for economic recovery. Since the onset of COVID, we've committed $1.1 billion to support the tourism industry. We'll continue to work closely with the industry to help tourism operators get back on their feet. And finally, Mr Speaker, it's a tale that will live forever in Australian sporting folklore. Two young Queenslanders running side by side with the hopes of a nation on their shoulders. One, Ash Maloney, was about to win bronze at the Tokyo Olympics, Australia's first Olympic medal in decathlon. The other, Cedric Dubler, was about to win something just as special. It was the dying seconds of their final event. Ash was fading fast, but Cedric, sacrificing his own performance, won the respect of millions when he spent the rest of the race encouraging his mate to finish. It was a remarkable performance. That's why it will come as no surprise to many that this week Cedric Dubler has been honoured by the Australian Olympic Committee, receiving the inaugural Cecil Healy Award for outstanding sportsmanship displayed at an Olympic Games. I offer Cedric our heartfelt congratulations on behalf of the government and I'm sure on behalf of this House. He has left a huge mark on the Olympics and has represented his state with pride. Mr Speaker, we teach our children that sport is not just about the winning and the losing. It's about how you play the game. Soon Queensland will host its own Olympic and Paralympic Games. I can only hope that the Queenslanders who represent their state and their country here at home in 2032 are inspired to follow Cedric's example. One more. Mr Speaker, Queensland's strength is also in its regions. No other state can match the richness and diversity of our regions. They all make great contributions to our economy. Last night, it was a pleasure to welcome to Parliament the Greater Whitsunday Alliance. And I want to acknowledge our Assistant Minister, Member for Mackay, and also the Member for Whitsunday. The Mackay, Isaac and Whitsunday councils have linked up in a very impressive collaboration. We all know their traditional strengths, mining, tourism, agriculture, but they are proud of those. But we also saw last night the Greater Whitsunday Alliance is determined to diversify and grow, to add many more strings to their bow to make a contribution to our state. In aviation, in aerospace, aquaculture, bioproducts, education, skills and training. It was wonderful last night to see how the three councils are absolutely in lockstep, backing each other and backing the people in their region. Stephen Boxall, the CEO of the Resources Centre of Excellence, spoke about the skills and workforce potential of Mackay. Isaac Mayor Anne Baker explained how her region's massive role in our mining wealth is only a part of the contribution to Queensland. And Whitsunday CEO Rod Ferguson told us how even he came to be impressed by how much more his area has to offer, as well as tourism. Mr Speaker, we have backed the Greater Whitsunday region before and during COVID downturn, and will continue to support their push for more investment and more development. And I congratulate the Alliance and CEO Kylie Porter for last night's outstanding showcase.
I call the Deputy Premier.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The recent flooding seen in southeast Queensland, Wide Bay and Fraser Coast is the worst experience since 2011. In some places it was worse. The QRA has carried out over 16,700 assessments of homes and commercial buildings. Suncorp Insurance has just updated the market regarding insurance claims, and that also provides a sense of the scale of the disaster. Suncorp alone has received more than 34,000 claims across Queensland and New South Wales, with around 60% in Queensland and around 40% in New South Wales. Over 80% of total claims relate to home damage. They report the hardest hit suburbs in terms of Suncorp insurance claims were Deagon, Aspley, Everton Park, Oxley and Caboolture. It is clear that as we continue our recovery efforts, we need to ensure we have a strong focus on resilience. I met with South East Queensland mayors on Friday last week. They agreed that we need to ensure we are ready for impacts that we have not experienced before, like the unprecedented rainfall we experienced with this recent event. Queensland councils have seen firsthand the benefits of investing in betterment projects, with many recounting examples of homes and public infrastructure being able to withstand the impacts of the 2022 floods because of the investment that had been made together following previous flooding disasters. In February 2022, on the eve of the recent disaster, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change advised that climate change had already caused more frequent and intense extreme events and that multiple climate hazards will create compounding risks to communities, infrastructure and supply chains. Investment in flood mitigation can provide economic returns and resilience benefits. As far back as 2002, the Bureau of Transport Economics research showed a 3-to-1 return on mitigation investment through avoided, response and recovery costs. But Australian government mitigation spending was only 3% of what it spent post-disaster in recent years. Funds invested by the Palaszczuk government in betterment programs have paid off. We have supported more than 485 projects to the value of $263.85 million. Many of these projects, when impacted by subsequent disasters, have sustained minimal or no damage, avoiding more than $250 million in reconstruction costs from subsequent impacts. As we turn to the rebuilding task, it's those lessons that will inform how we build back to make sure our infrastructure and buildings can better withstand whatever disaster we face next.
I call the Honourable Treasurer.
Speaker, for an outward-looking state like Queensland, trade and investment relationships are critical to our future economic prosperity. That has become more and more evident across the course of the pandemic. When natural disasters strike our state, the revenue from exports helps Queensland recover faster. And it is our long-standing relationships with global partners that will be critical to our state's recovery. That's why I was proud to lead the Queensland Trade Mission to Expo 2020 Dubai 2 weeks ago to promote Queensland exporters and investment opportunities. In 2020, the value of Queensland's exports to the Middle East was valued at nearly $1 billion, and it was also a major source of investment. The United Arab Emirates is home to 4 of the top 20 sovereign wealth funds in the world, including the world's second largest, the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, who I met when I was in the UAE. This mission was Queensland's first chance to shine on the global stage since the Premier secured our hosting rights for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And the response to Queensland's global events at the Australia Pavilion was outstanding. Hosting the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games will deliver an $8.1 billion benefit to Queensland, including $4.6 billion in economic benefits from tourism and trade. Our Dubai delegation included Olympic champions Natalie Cook and Kate Campbell, Paralympic champion Curtis McGrath and Dubai-based Paralympian Jessica Smith. The message was clear. We will share the 2032 Games with the world. Speaker, the 2032 Games are not just about the next decade. They're about the run into 2032 and then the decade beyond. That's why I was pleased to listen to Olympic legacy insights from the Mace Group, who had a central role in delivering the London 2012 Olympic Legacy Program. Discussions like these with a small band of cities like us, Olympic and Paralympic hosts, will help ensure Brisbane, Queensland 2032 will deliver the greatest possible benefit for our state. But our state has so much more to offer. Our global new energy event showcased our natural and technological advantages when it comes to the production of renewable energy and green hydrogen. Potential investors only need to look at the world's largest hydrogen electrolyser manufacturing facility to be built by Fortescue Future Industries in Gladstone to know that Queensland has an environment and a government and a local member conducive to doing business.
And that is a wonderful news there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to leave those proceedings there. And I hope if you enjoyed the opening session of the Queensland Parliamentary sitting today on the 16th day of March 22, 24 degrees and sunny right here. Next up at 10 a.m., we will be bringing to you the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra. Stand by for that. And we will see you with that at 10 with the weekly real estate update.